All right, shalom, shalom. Back at it again through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shema Shah. But before we start this video, I want to give all honor, all praises, and all glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shah, Ba'ashem, Rakah Kadash. All right, double honors to our elder apostle Ruel. Salutation to the fellow Akim who labor in the apostle doctrine. And to the men, women, and children that still believe, to you I say shalom. So as you see here, right, when you read the title, you read it here, the title, the subtitle for this part of the chapter in Matthew the 10th chapter is the meaning of discipleship. And basically, Lord willing, it's a short lesson. It's edifying, straight to the point. But that's what we're gonna be dealing with in this lesson is the meaning of discipleship. Right? What does it mean to be a disciple? What is expected of you as a disciple? And disciple just means someone who follows a particular discipline, right? So we're following Yahweh Shema Shah. We're following the example that Yahweh Shah set. So, what is expected? What is Salakia, for tripping over my words. But what I'm trying to say is what is to be expected, right, as someone who's following Yahweh Shema Shah, someone who's called into this truth. Now let's go into Matthew the 10th chapter, okay? And we're going to the 38th verse. Now I'm gonna highlight it here, okay? And what inspired this lesson was a verse, a daily verse that the elder from the main camp, the elder Amawang Gabal, like he posts like daily verses, on his channel, and and that verse Matthew 10 and 38, that was the verse of the day that he posted, and it kind of it just got me in the spirit of doing this lesson when I read it, Salakia, give me a second. There you go. I had to adjust that screen. This is the book of Matthew, chapter 10, verse 38. It says, Salakia, and he that taketh not his cross and follow after me is not worthy of me. You see? So in ancient Rome, right, when a person was forced to carry that cross, it was a sign of punishment, right? They had to go through a trial, right? And they was punished with carrying that cross. So it's the same. So this is an analogy to say that, on your journey, in this journey, right, in this walk of ours, there's pain involved, right? This path that we on is a path of pain and suffering. You're going to deal with pain and suffering. It's not an easy path. Okay? There is a lot of pain and suffering on this path. The Lord won't put on you more than what you can handle, but there's pain and suffering. There's pain that you're going to have to go through. Okay? There's pain that you're going to have to go through. Give me a second. Now I found some information on it, right? Now when you go into Google, I typed in why people carry the cross, or what I was trying to say in Google is in the search bar was, why would a person, right, be forced to carry a cross, okay, in ancient Roman society? That's what I was trying to say. But it came out different. But anyway, there was a short article here where it says the famed Roman orator Cicero said it was unbecoming of a Roman citizen to ever utter the word cross. Any man seen carrying a cross was immediately understood to be a sinner under condemnation. He was put to shame. Everyone knew that his life was forfeit. Okay? Slack it. Gotta adjust this. Salakia. So, like I said earlier, I was right earlier, right? So, carrying the cross was a form of punishment in ancient Roman Empire. However, this article expounds more on what I was saying, that it's not just a punishment, right? But it goes into more details of why it was a punishment, why it was um in ancient Roman society, in ancient Rome. Okay, so connecting this back to the scriptures, when Lord Yahweh Shah said, "And he that taketh not his cross," you know, that that's dealing with the pain. You know, that's not just and what I just learned now is that's not just dealing with pain, right? That's dealing with pain, suffering, and humiliation. Pain, suffering, and humiliation. Pain, shame, suffering, and humiliation. Because, like it said here, it says, any man seen carrying a cross was immediately understood to be a sinner under condemnation. So you gotta take the heat, so to speak, right? You have to. So when Lord Howard Shah said that if any man doesn't carry his cross, you see, paraphrasing, the Lord was speaking on bearing the accept embracing and accepting, the persecution, the shame, the pain that comes with being a disciple, because you're going to experience all those things, right? You're going to be ridiculed for the truth, right? You're going to be shamed for believing and following it, the truth. You're going to experience humiliation if you haven't already, because you believe and follow this truth. You're already feeling pain. We all went through pain before, and we all suffered before for believing and following this truth. Okay, so the Lord is just saying that comes with the territory, right? That you're going to feel pain, you're going to suffer, you're going to be shamed, you're going to be humiliated, but you have to accept all that in order to continue as his disciple. If you can't accept those things, then, and also on top of that, you got to also embrace death. You got to lose the fear of death, because like he said here, what did the Roman orator Cicero say, right? Salakia, not Cicero, but it said here in the article, it says he was put to shame. Everyone knew that his life was forfeit. So you have to always keep that in mind as a disciple, is that your life is forfeit. That we already know that that's just like a universal knowledge, understanding that we all gonna die, right? We all gonna experience death. But in this case, you gotta be, as a follower of Yahweh Shema Shah, right? You have to accept the fact that you might be martyred for the truth, because Scripture do say that some of us will have to be martyred for the testimony of Yahweh Shah. It told you that in not Romans, Salakia, Revelation 20:4. So you have to deal. So you have to. So the territory, right? Being a disciple, you gotta experience. You're gonna experience pain. You're gonna experience suffering in this truth. Pain, suffering, humiliation, shame, and ultimately you might be martyred. I said it might be because everybody's lot is different. We don't know. Speaking of myself, and also all of us, we don't know how our journey is going to end. We don't know how the Lord is going to end our journey. Some of us may not taste death, after Scripture say, when Yahweh Shah come back, and then some of us will. Some of us might be cast into prison. So it depends how the Lord want to end our story, so to speak. So us as individuals, we don't know how our story is going to end, but the scriptures do say that for some of us, it's going to end by us being martyred. Not all of us, some of us. We don't know who it might be. It could be me, it could be you. But you always have to have it in mind that you might have to give up your life. And I say might as a possibility, because the Lord might not want that for you. But you always got to hold out the possibility that you will have to give up your life for this truth. Right? This is Revelation 20:4. Now let me Spirit hit me with Sirach, or Ecclesiastes 4. Ecclesiastes 4, better known as the Book of Sirach 4. Here it is here. Ecclesiastes 4:28. It says, strive. Excuse me. Let me bring up this screen. So like, yeah, Ecclesiastes 4:28. It says, strive for the truth unto death, and the Lord shall fight for thee. So why is it saying strive for the truth unto death? Because it's just supporting what I said earlier. So for some of us, our story might end by us being martyred for the gospel's sake. That's not everybody. The Lord not going to put everybody in that situation, but the Lord already knows the future, and He already knows who lot is casted to be martyred. You know what I'm saying? So what comes with this the territory of this truth, and with being a disciple, is you also got to lose the fear of death. Because if it is the case that you've been casted, or you in a situation where you've been casted ultimately in that road that the Lord set you up to be martyred, and you in that situation where you have to give up your life for the gospel, then you have to lose the fear of death. You have to embrace the fact that you're going to be unalive, right? And you have to lose the fear of death, because if you had the fear of death on you, then you won't be martyred. You're going to comply to whatever the powers may be. You're going to comply to whatever the demands of the powers that be, right? In order to escape death, in order to escape that persecution. But the price is that you deny the gospel. You see? So you have to lose the fear of death. It's being a follower of Yahweh Shema Shah. You have to lose the fear of death. You just have to. Because you never know what your lot is. You never know. You might have to be martyred. And if you got the fear of death on you, then, if you scared to lose your life, if you fearing death, then you're going to renounce the gospel in order to try to preserve your life. So with this truth comes, like I said, overcoming the fear of death. Ecclesiastes 4:28, it says, strive for the truth unto death, and the Lord shall fight for thee. Why? Because some of us will be put to death for the gospel's sake, for the truth's sake. But us fighting is keeping the faith till our last moments. That's like it, keeping the faith even in our last moments. Not keeping the faith, and then if it's the Lord's will that we have to lose our life for the gospel, right? And then in your final moments, you renouncing the gospel in order to try to save your life. That's not striving to the truth unto death. Revelation 3:10. Yeah, that's a spirit. I was thinking about 2:10. Revelation 3:10, it says, because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I will also keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth. So everybody is coming. We're coming in a time soon where this hour of temptation is talking about the MOTB, right? The C-HIP, Neuralink, where it's gonna be globalized, right? Where everybody around the globe will have to use this new biometric technology in order to do commerce, in order to buy and sell and make trades, right? They're gonna have to have this biotechnology inside of them, either in their right hand or in their forehead, right? They're gonna have to have this C hip in their right hand or in their forehead. This mark, you know, they're gonna have to be branded and marked, and that brand or that mark is going in their right hand or in their forehead, but also inside their body, because you're gonna have some people that might not put that biometric technology, that mark, that C hip in their right hand on their forehead. They might just put it inside their body somewhere, in their arm or their shoulder, right behind their ear, whatever the case may be. Who knows? You know, on the back of their spine, like who knows? However, however, that time is coming where with digital currency, right, is going to be globalized, and everybody on Earth, including you so-called Babylonians, you Americans out there, is going to have to be forced to get with this digital currency system, right? That's going to be inspired and resemble the Chinese social credit system, to where points is earned by doing certain actions that the government approve of, and you lose points, right, by doing things that the government disapproves of. And if your points is too low, then there's consequences with that. You face penalties, like your passport, you know, your account might get frozen, or you might not be able to get a passport. You might not be able to take a plane ride. You might not be able to take a train ride. You see, just like in China, they social credit system, right? When people points are too low, they lose access to society, lose more access to things. They won't be able to buy a car. They won't be able to pay for their groceries. You see what I'm saying? Because their points is too low. Now, why are they points low? Because they was doing things that the government disapproved of. They probably, criticize, let's say a law that they put in the practice, right? And now they points drop. Or they adopted a conspiracy, I don't know, let's say a conspiracy theories type of view, and now they points drop even more. So then when they points reach below a certain point, they start losing access to things. And that's how it's gonna be when the C hip is out, when it's globalized and it's mandatory throughout all the states in America. It's gonna just run like this, like China's social credit system, where you're gonna get points. There's gonna be guidelines and rules on what you need to do to keep your points up. And if you do those things, your points is gonna stay up, right? The things the government like. But if you do the things the government don't like, the powers that be, then your points is gonna go down. And at a certain point, you're gonna lose access to things, to different parts of society. Okay, so that time is coming, but we don't have to fear or worry about it. Why? Because the Lord said, I will keep, because thou has kept my word, right? We believe, we kept following Yahweh Shai, right? Despite the pain that we was going through, the suffering, the persecution, the shame, right? The Lord remember this, while everybody was partying and having fun in the world, we stayed faithful and true to Yahweh Ba'Shem Shai. The Lord's going to remember this. He's going to remember all of the works that we did in His name, right? That spiritual bank account, us storing up those treasures in heaven, because those treasures also also has mercy in those treasures, right? That spiritual bank account has mercy. So in this time where the MOTB, right, that CHIP is mandatory, that we're gonna be able to cash out on Salakia. There we go. But like I was saying, when the CHIP is mandatory, it's made mandatory, you're gonna be able to cash out on that mercy that we stored up from our good works in Yahweh Shemawasha's name. Right? So it says here, because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I will also keep thee from the hour of temptation. And that hour of temptation is coming, and that's why we're gonna be preserved. We're gonna be fed, we're gonna be taken care of, and we don't have to worry. We don't, we're not gonna give in to that pressure. The Lord gonna put on us, give us a spirit of peace, a sound love and a sound mind. He gonna give us a spirit of courage where we won't feel fear, and we won't be like the world where we're gonna be pressured into getting that CHIP, that biometric technology in our body, because we fear that if we don't take it, we won't eat. Nah, the Lord's gonna put that spirit of reinsurance, that spirit of calmness, like everything is fine, right? As the scriptures say, be still and know that I'm the power. So the Lord already got everything planned out and laid out for us. He's gonna take care of us, and we're gonna eat, not just us, but our families. And the Lord's gonna reinsure that, right? So we don't have to worry like the people in the world, because once this CHIP get globalized and it's nationwide in America, these people gonna lose their minds. They're gonna feel pressured, and they're gonna be worried like, damn, yo, if I don't take this CHIP, I won't be able to eat. The Lord's gonna make sure we eat, and we good. Why? Because we followed Him, and we did good works in His name, and He's gonna remember that, right? He's gonna remember that and show us mercy. Now, going back to the scripture, right? Matthew 10:28, it says, and he that taketh not his cross, right? That's accepting the pain, going through pain, suffering, humiliation, shame, and also, possibly death, right? It says, he that taketh not his cross and followeth after me, okay, is not worthy of me. So this is just a test. This whole journey is a test to see, are you worthy? Worthy. Worthy.
Worthy.
Having or showing the quality of abilities that merit recognition in a specific way. A person noble and poor in a particular sphere. Right? So this is all a test to see, are we worthy to be joint heirs with Yahweh Shah? Are we worthy for the kingdom to be the first fruits in the kingdom of heaven? Are we worthy? This is what this is all about. And I end it here. That's why we going through all this. That's why we going through the pain, the suffering, the humiliation, the shame, right? The persecution is all to see, are we worthy for the kingdom of heaven? Because if are we worthy to be joint heirs with Yahweh Shah? Because to receive the honor, to be honored alongside Yahweh Shah is not a light thing. And to be the first fruits in the kingdom of heaven is not a light thing either. That's an extremely great honor. So like any great prize, you gotta put tests and challenges to where only those that are worthy, right, those that pass those challenges or those tests are worthy to receive such a great reward. And that's why the Lord is putting us on this journey, right? Because He's not going to just give this to anybody. He's going to give it to His elect, because only His elect could pass this obstacle course, this challenge. Okay, we don't know if we the elect, but we here. The Lord called us here to make our calling and election sure. So we got to do the work to make our call and election sure. You can't make yourself one of the elect. But what that scripture is saying in Philippians 2:13, I believe, loosely paraphrasing, is Philippians 2:12, Salakia, is you got to do the work, and you got to move with this spirit as if you are, if it's not move with that spirit, but you have to do the work that the elect will be doing. What would the elect do? Oh, they'll be reading a Bible, they'll be studying, they'll be praying, they'll be fasting, they'll be detaching themselves from worldly things, they'll be drawn closer to the Lord. This is what the elect will be doing. So you have to do those things, and then in time, it'll be revealed if you are the elect or not. Like I said, you can't make yourself the elect, but you have to do the things that the elect would do in order to find out, are you the elect or not? That's just how the Lord set it up. To stay in the game, you have to do the things that the elect would do in order to stay in the game, in order to stay in this walk, so to speak. Right? It says Luke 9:62, and Yahushua said unto him, no man having put his hand on the plow, right? You do this work. You follow Yahushua. You serve the Lord. So nobody. It said no man, so there's no favoritism here. That go for me, you, and everybody that's called into this truth, right? If you serve the Lord, right, and you looking back, as the scripture said here, and no man having put his hand to the plow and looking back is fit for the kingdom of heaven, right? Like Yahushua said, remembers Lot's wife. Why? Because Lot's wife looked back when she wasn't supposed to, she turned into a pillar of salt in Sodom and Gomorrah. You see? So if you look back, what that looking back means is you going back into the world, right? You serving the Lord, but because things are too hard for you, because you have a low pain tolerance. See what I'm saying? You have a low pain tolerance. You can't you give up and you wind up going back in the world because you can't accept the pain. You can't accept the suffering. You can't accept the humiliation no more. You can't accept the shame. You can't accept, the possibility of losing your life for the gospel, right? So you go back in the world where it's comfortable, but guess what? That just proves that you was unfit. You was unworthy, right? Salakia. It says Salaki, it says here, is fit for the kingdom of heaven. So it just shows that if you go back in the world after serving the Lord, that just shows that you was unworthy for the Lord, that you was unfit for the kingdom of heaven. You was unfit as an Israelite man, to rule in the kingdom of heaven, to be the first fruits, to be of the elect. You just wasn't of the elect. That's what it boils down to. You wasn't of the elect. If you serve the Lord, you was called into this truth, and then things got too hard for you and you wound up going back in the world, that just proves that you wasn't of his elect. That's all that is. That's all that is. Okay. Last scripture. I know I said the other one was last one, but I won't bring this out too. Luke 17 and 32 and 33. It says, remember Lot's wife. Whosoever shall seek to save his life shall lose it, and whosoever shall lose his life shall preserve it. So see, Lot's wife, because what happened? The angels told her, when you read it in Genesis 19 chapter, they told her, look, when you and your husband flee, right, don't look back. The angels told Lot, his wife and his whole family, don't look back, right? Or else don't look back, or else you're going to turn to a pillar of salt. Loosely paraphrasing, right? But I definitely remember the Lord the angels telling them to not look back for sure, right? And what happened as the angels were destroying Sodom and Gomorrah and the neighboring cities around Sodom and Gomorrah, what happened? So like I'm gonna put it simply, Sodom and Gomorrah, as the angels was destroying Sodom and Gomorrah, right? in the cities that inhabited, that was with Sodom and Gomorrah, they Lot and his wife fled, but what happened? Lot wife looked back, and what happened to her, right? She turned into a pillar of salt. That's why Yahweh Shah is saying, remember, it's like Lot's wife. What is the lesson here? What is the lesson? See, she loved the world. She wanted to save those things that was being destroyed. She wanted to go back to her life. She was comfortable in Sodom and Gomorrah. She was content in Sodom and Gomorrah. She didn't want to leave Sodom and Gomorrah. That's why she looked back. See? Because she didn't want to leave Sodom and Gomorrah. She was content with her life there, and guess what? She lost her life. So if you and that's a lesson for us to say, like, don't love this world, flee from this world. Because if you feel like you're missing something, right? Or you feel like, there's something for you in this world, eventually you're going to die along with this world because you're attaching yourself to this world, right? And when the destruction comes, you're going to be destroyed along with it, just like Lot's wife. See what I'm saying? So don't go back into the world, because there's nothing for you in the world. The world's going to be destroyed. It's nothing for them. The inhabitants of the world are destined for judgment, condemnation, and judgment. So don't go back into the world and be condemned along with them, right? You got to continue to move forward. You got to continue to follow Yahweh Shah and the destruction and the instructions that he's laying out for you through the prophets. Just how Yahweh Shah laid out the instructions for Lot and his family, and Lot and his daughters made it, but his wife didn't, because Lot and his daughters followed the instructions, and they lived to see another day. But Lot's wife died because she turned back. She didn't follow the instructions. See? She wanted to go back into the world because she was comfortable with that, with Sodom and Gomorrah, which is symbolic to her wanting to go back in the world. She didn't want salvation. She wanted her comfortable life in the world, so she wound up paying the price. This is why the Lord Yahweh Shah is saying, remember Lot's wife. So Lord willing, this was an edifying